Yes. So we are live.
Great.
Hello, Mr. Alfonso, Mr. Bill Fonzie Alfonso.
And hello to you, and hello to all your listeners. And thank you so much for having me on your show.
It's a real
I
pleasure.
told you earlier that I came to France for
Yes.
one day in 1993. I refereed a match between Hulk Hogan and Yokozuna. We headlined that all over the world. And the women were
Amazing.
beautiful, and the food was fantastic. And I loved it. I had a great time. Thank you for hosting us. That was WWF back in the day. It wasn't WWE. It was WWF in 1993 when I went on that tour.
Wow. That's amazing. And well, to most of my guests, I ask them if they can introduce themselves a little, just a little description. But if you
Okay.
don't feel comfortable, I can do it for
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. I can introduce myself.
Okay.
Um, hello, everybody. My name is Bill Alfonso. I've been in the professional wrestling industry, sports and entertainment industry for 40 years. I started off as a referee for Florida Championship Wrestling, and then I graduated to WCW in 1992. Was there a few years, and I went to WWF and headlined on some WrestleManias. And I went into ECW and became a manager and managed Rob Van Dam,
Yeah.
Sabu, and TAZZ, and many others, may I add. And I'm currently semi-retired, but I'm still doing tours around the world and having a great time. I'm still relevant to the business, and I love it. And thank you so much for having me on. And if you want, you can, I have social media, Bill Fonzie Alfonso.
Yes.
I have Instagram, I have Facebook, and I have Twitter at Alfonso Bill. So if you want to look at some really cool pictures, check it out. I'd love to have you, especially my international superstar people like you. I love international, love traveling around the world. Tokyo is my favorite city in the world. And one of my favorite countries, of course, is France.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure you were lucky to travel all around the world, and no, that's great. First of all, I would like to know how you start in the business. I don't know how you were always a wrestling fan, or was kind of an accident. Or...
I kind of fell into it. My father was a friend of the sports editor for the town I lived in growing up, which was Tampa. And he used to write the results of wrestling. So he had lunch with my father, and he gave 2 comp tickets to wrestling. And my father came home and said, "Hey, Billy, I have tickets to wrestling." And I didn't know what wrestling was, but I was curious at wrestling. So the first night I went, there was Eddie Graham, the Great Malenko, Bobo Brazil, Bruno Sammartino, Dusty Rhodes, so many. And I fell in love with it that night and said, "This is what I want to do." And I was about 13 years old.
Wow.
And it took me years and years to work my way into it. But I wanted to wrestle, but I'm small, 160 pounds, now 165. But the closest thing to the action would be in the ring as a referee. And lucky me, I did it.
Yes. No, but I think you really were successful to more be more than just a referee, just a character with a identity. And no, was great. You are memorable, a
Thank you.
memorable character for sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, what for you was the appealing of the wrestling? What made you fall in love with wrestling?
I think the showbiz, the entertainment factor in it, I guess that drew me to it. And I met so many positive, cool wrestlers and people and promoters and building people. And oh my goodness, when I went to the first time to Madison Square Gardens, the most famous arena on the planet,
Yes.
it was amazing. I was very fortunate. And when I went to Tokyo for the first time and refereed the main event in 1991, I think, with a sold out crowd indoor building at the Tokyo Dome, 65,000 people. It was Ric Flair against their Japanese champion, Fujinami, and it was real successful at that. And it's just the lure of attraction for me is the entertainment and the fans. I've met thousands of fans all over the country, and it's real humbling when somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, Fonzie, can I have your autograph?" or "Talk to me," or "I've seen you in 1998 in Detroit, Michigan," or "I've seen you in Miami Beach Convention Center." It's pretty thrilling. It's pretty flattering when somebody comes up to you and asks you for an autograph or asks questions. It's pretty cool. And I'm really good with the fans. If it wasn't for you fans, I wouldn't be here today sitting with you.
For sure. But at the beginning, was hard to enter in the business? Was like very protected? Or?
It was very hard. It was very hard. But somehow we protected the business really hard. It was, and the thing is, there's 5,000 wrestlers, but there's only 200 jobs. So it's really hard. You know what I mean? It's really hard. It's limited positions and a lot of guys with a lot of talent. Good thing I'm the most talented manager of them all. That's why I got the spot.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm curious, what was your way in? Like, you have a connection, you met a good
Well,
friend
I
with
was
someone?
well liked when I started going to wrestling when I was a young lad and started meeting the wrestlers, and I just started bonding with them, and they knew I loved the business. I started becoming friends. You know who The Rock is.
Yes.
Became friends with his dad, Rocky Johnson.
Oh, great.
Became friends with a super legend named King Curtis and Mark Lewin, and they liked me, and they were kind of guiding me and giving me some hints on how to get in and introducing me to the right people. And it was being in the right place at the right time. Luck of the Irish.
Yes. Yeah, no, for sure. I guess I remember Paul Heyman, he told that he was really hard for him and he kind of take pictures,
Yes.
just to, as a way to get in.
Paul Heyman's a dear friend of mine, and we'd helped each other in the business since the early 80s, 1980s. I've been friends with Paul for over 40 years. And he was one of the producers of ECW, and he gave me my Bill Fonzie Alfonso character, you know, the manager, blow the whistle, and all the gimmick with Van Damme. It was his idea, and thank you, Paul Heyman, for that. Yes. It still made me, I'm still relevant today because of ECW.
Yeah, for sure. But how it was when you start, and where in around the time there were still kayfabe, right?
Yes.
So basically, people believe that wrestling was 100% real, and they get real heat with the people, and was kind of, if you were a heel, was kind of dangerous around that time.
Yes, I've seen a lot of fans get overexcited and jump into the ring. I've seen a wrestling fan. I was refereeing a match between Roddy Piper and Sergeant Slaughter in North Carolina in the 1985, 1986. And Roddy Piper was the bad guy. And of course, Sergeant Slaughter was the big baby face.
Yes.
So Piper did something to him. The match was over, and I was following Piper back from the ring to the dressing room, and some guy out of the blue pulled out a knife and stabbed Roddy Piper right in the belly. And so you know what I mean? So
what the fuck?
Yeah, what the hell, you know? But we took, you know, they arrested the guy, and we got Piper to the hospital, and he was fine, thank goodness. But you never know. I've seen riots. You know, especially back in the day when it was really, now it's so sports entertainment. You know, yes. Vince McMahon, who I love and I adore, and I work for him. I think he's the greatest promoter of all time, Vince McMahon.
Sure.
You know, it was WWF, World Wide Wrestling. Now it's WWE, Worldwide Entertainment. So Vince McMahon wants the doctor, the doctor's wife, and the 3 kids at ringside. It's changed, evolution. Now it's showbiz and slides and that, and the pay-per-views and WrestleManias. We didn't have that when I started.
Yes. Yeah, because he was trying to appeal a bigger audience,
Yes,
like
and he did it.
international.
He did it. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. And
Yeah, for
and I
sure.
did the WrestleManias, and you know, Vince McMahon gave me one of my biggest paydays ever. WrestleMania payoff was fantastic, and I'm very thankful to Vince McMahon and WWE Net, family, and for me
Yes.
to be a part of it. Hopefully, I get inducted to the
Hall of
Hall of
Fame.
Fame or
Yeah, for
that
sure.
Legends contract. I would like to get a Legends contract.
Yeah, I know that will be great. So you start, well, I have a picture that I would like to share.
Okay,
Because it's I think it's really cool your your story, like here's the screen.
take your
All
time.
right.
Take your time, Daddy.
Wrong picture.
Okay, I love your pictures. I see some great pictures in there.
Yeah, this one.
Okay, that picture was taken in 1993 on the set of Hulk Hogan's TV series Thunder in Paradise. That's
Hmm.
me, the shorter one. I'm not short. I'm 5'10". Hulk Hogan's like 6'6". And next to
Yes.
Hulk Hogan is Giant Gonzalez, the largest athlete on the planet, and I was his personal assistant for 3 years. That was taken on the set of the pilot show for Thunder in Paradise, which they picked up for a couple years. Very
Yeah.
cool. And I
Yeah.
was
No.
on the pilot, and they wanted the giant on the pilot to play a character, and it was very cool. That's a great picture. Big,
Yes.
bigger, and the biggest.
So you had the chance to meet Hulk Hogan to
Oh, we
interact with
live in
him.
the same. We broke into wrestling business around the same time. We have the same birthday, August 11th. Hulk Hogan lives 7 miles. We live 7 miles apart. He lives in Clearwater. I live in Land Lakes, and I see him all the time. He's a dear friend of mine. I refereed many of his matches all over the world and had a great time. Hulk Hogan is one. He's the biggest name in wrestling in history. There's no name bigger
Yeah,
than Hulk Hogan, and I'm
for
proud to
sure.
say he's one of my dear friends.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So you're wrestling with you work with WWF
I love it.
as a referee, but
Yes,
then but um
a referee and more. Remember, I was the personal assistant to the
yeah,
largest
yeah,
on the planet for 3 years. That was
yes,
quite a task, That was we were together 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for 3 years.
yeah, I was sure was not easy for him
Yeah,
or for you, but I think was a fun
I
time.
enjoyed my job. You know how many times um, I would always get my room right next to him. We'd get the Marriott, and I'd be 2 rooms down. You know how many phone calls I got at 3 o'clock in the morning? My phone to ring, and it's the giant. Hey, Fonzie, would you mind going to give me 5 hamburgers and 3 French fries, a gallon of Coke or something? And that's my job. I
Yes,
never ever hesitated. Was proud to go get him his
so
food.
he
That was
was
my job.
always hungry.
Taking care. Can you imagine taking care and being the assistant to the largest athlete on the planet? That's
Yes, for
pretty cool,
sure.
bro. Can any of you people say that? Can you
Yeah,
say
no,
that?
for sure.
Were you the personal assistant to the largest athlete on the planet?
No, that's
Okay.
amazing.
Who
So,
was? Me, Daddy.
so I'm sure you have funny
I'm
stories.
kidding. I'm having a good time with you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to entertain you guys.
No, no, that's great. And I don't know. I think it's funny because I think around that time, uh, people was trying to challenge wrestlers to
Yes.
prove that they were fake, and sometimes they get their ass kicked many times.
99.9% of the we are trained machines. Most of us are super wrestling, like the Steiner brothers, national competitors, amateur wrestling. Most of us are badass. Uh, so usually when a fan got into the ring, he got tied up pretty quick. And then, of course, the police would jump right in on him. But,
Sure,
we can
but
handle ourselves.
it never happened to you, like in the old days, that an asshole will say, "Ah, you wrestler, you're fake," or
Yeah, no,
try
of
to.
course. Of course. Good question, because I was right in the middle of say their hero, like Dusty Rhodes, was
Sure.
getting pinned by the bad guy, and bad guy put his feet on the rope, and the referee me count 1, 2, 3, and I didn't see the feet on the rope. The people were yelling, "Hey, hey, his feet on the rope!" Sorry, I didn't see it, but that's part of the thing. But yeah, they're very mad at me. I've had to have police escorts out of the building back in the earlier days, many, many times.
Wow.
That's for real, Daddy.
Yes. But you were enjoying that kind of hit, or
Hell
was kind
yeah,
of,
man. Hell yeah,
or
I know I was doing my job. I know I was doing a great job.
yes, because
Very
I
proud of
think
what I do, and I'm very professional, and I work hard. I'm known as one of the better referees in the business. I'm known for being a ballsy manager. Listen, Jimmy Hart, big celebrity. Jim Cornette, big celebrity. All the managers. But name me a couple of those guys that have been through tables and chairs and all that kind of stuff that Bill Alfonso does, Daddy.
yes.
Name the guys that's got titanium arms with 6 screws, a couple hundred stitches here, a couple hundred stitches here. So there's nobody like me. I go hardcore too, Daddy.
I'm sure that
With
I have
all
a
the respect.
picture. I have a
Oh,
picture
there's
to prove it.
911 slamming me. Yep, knocked me out. Boom, knocked out.
Yeah, that's something that Jim Cornette will not get.
Correct.
For
And I
sure.
love Jim Cornette. And he's badass. He's one of the better. He does his promos
Yes.
fantastic. He's solid. He's a superstar. So
Yes.
is all the other ones, Jimmy Hart. But there's no Bill Alfonso when it comes to taking bumps and going through tables and stuff. But that's what
Yeah,
I
for
had
sure.
to do. I was at ECW. I had no choice. If I wanted a job, if I wanted to be the manager of champions, if I wanted to manage RVD and Sabu, the king of hardcore, that's what I had to do. And I had no problem doing that.
And you can give some some receipts too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, it's one of Paul Heyman's favorite matches, and we've had thousands of wrestling matches. If you ask Paul Heyman, hey, Paul Heyman, out of the thousands of matches in ECW, what are your top 5 favorite matches? He's going to say, oh, the night Bill Alfonso beat the hell out of Tommy Dreamer's wife, Beulah,
Yes.
at the ECW Arena in 1997. He's going to say that's one of his top 5 for sure.
For sure. Because it was so not
We're two not
politically correct.
wrestlers. We're two not wrestlers. She's not a wrestler. She's a valet. I'm not a wrestler. I'm a manager. And we seem to entertain the people that night. That's the number one question is when I go around the world and do these conventions and seminars and travel and meet people, they always ask me about the Beulah Fonzie match. See that scar right here? That's from Beulah.
Okay.
It looks like her, yeah.
How that happened?
Excuse me?
How that happened?
She hit me with a baking sheet, the simplest thing. Where you put cookies on, you put them in the oven.
Yes.
They use it because it sounds loud when they hit your head.
Yes.
But somehow she caught me with the corner of it and looked like the box was cut. She couldn't have done that in a million years exactly the same. It was a perfect. Thank God I juiced up and almost bled to death. I had to be rushed to the hospital and get stitched up. They didn't want to release me. I had to sign a release form to get out of the hospital. It was pretty cool.
Yes. So how you arrived to ECW?
Paul Heyman, my dear friend. I had worked with him in Florida Championship Wrestling. I worked with him in WCW. We remained friends. So I just left WWF. I just did the WrestleMania. I was a big referee up there. And Paul Heyman had the company called ECW, and he was producing. He was one of the owners, him and Todd Gordon.
Yes.
And he thought it'd be perfect for Bill Alfonso, fresh out of WWF, to come and be anti-violent. Stop, because I'm from Vince McMahon. We want family entertainment. We want, like I said, the doctor's wife and the 3 kids. Yes. But in ECW, they wanted hardcore blood and guts and Taipei death match, barbed wire and chairs and sex and violence. And I was anti that because, I come from an anti-violent company. So I came in there and instantly the people hated me because I would stop their violence, as the referee. So that turned into me going with TAZZ, and that turned me going in with Van Dam and Sabu at the first pay-per-view, Barely Legal, and 5 years later.
Yeah, no, that's
So I thought it was fantastic.
yes. And around that time, you were aware that you're doing something revolutionary. That was the
Well,
intention.
we all knew we were part of something because there wasn't nothing else like it. I mean, we were already the wrestling business was already coming down and becoming more entertainment, more entertainment. But who knew there was a market for hardcore? Who knew there was a market for going through tables? Who knew there was a market for chairs and violence and barbed wire? Nobody knew that, but Paul Heyman did. And we were on a ride and got bigger and bigger and just kept going and going.
Yeah. So
I was
there
thrilled
was
to
a
be
lot.
there. I grew with the company. I was fantastic, and I fit right in. That's where I should have been from the beginning.
Yeah, no, especially I think the fans was not like typical wrestling fans. It became like
Right.
a cult, like
Exactly. It's a culture today. Hey, I get guys 19 years old. They weren't even born in 1995. They come up to me, oh my God, I love you and RVD and Sabu. Can I have your autograph? I think, how do you know me? How when you're 19 years old? How the hell do you know Bill Alfonso from ECW?
yeah,
Oh, the internet of WWE
yes,
Network. We see all your stuff. They love it. So it's flattering to have
yes.
new fans. It's just boom, you're still growing.
Yeah, no, for me it was kind of revolutionary, and kind of you can feel the passion in every person involved. Was not like they were doing for the money. They were not. Well, of course, you have to pay your bills,
Of
whatever.
course we did. We were
But
making money. We were making all of us in ECW were making money, but we weren't making WWE money. You know what I
yes,
mean? They're a
yes,
multi-billion-dollar company.
yes,
We're on the shoot. Say we made $14 million that year that we drew in, but we spent 15. We had no corporate
yes,
sponsors. No, you
yes.
know what I mean? We were
So there were a lot of passion. There was a lot of
more
passion.
passionate. That's what got us through. That's our passion and our
Yes,
determination.
and there was like kind of a family
Yes,
feeling, like
absolutely. We
we are
were
in this together.
Yep, 100%. We took care of
Yeah,
each other.
yeah, no, that's amazing because really for me that time really changed the industry.
Yeah,
Even
set a new standard.
even
Set a
if
new standard.
yes, especially then with the Attitude Era, you know, to people that knew ECW when the Attitude Era in WWF arrived, you can
Right.
see that they were inspired by ECW. That is a no
Oh,
brainer.
Vince McMahon's son, Shane, loved DCW, loved it. He introduced his dad to it. He said, Dad, look at this small company. They're great, gaining ground. You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
have you ever seen any, not too many companies invade Raw, Monday Night Raw? ECW invaded. We had a working relationship with them. In fact, Vince lent us $1 million to keep going. He liked us so much. We were almost
Really?
in we were in the red, and Vince said to Paul Heyman, "Hey, let me write you $1 million check to get you guys through," and it carried us through for a while. Thank
Wow.
you, Vince. Thank you. That's why I love him. It's not for that particular reason, because I worked for him. He was great to me, and
Sure.
he's the greatest promoter of all time. Hey,
And
Vince,
what
will you give me the Legends contract, Daddy? Thanks. Pass the drug test. Smile real good.
and what for you is one of the memories that you are more precious for you around that time of ECW?
Just
Because
being involved in the dressing room, just being involved and keeping my job, just being involved with Sabu and Van Dam, all good memories. Uh, but I have one favorite memory in the 40 years of the wrestling history. I have
yes,
one, the greatest memory of all, and the greatest compliment of all times for me.
yes,
Want to hear it?
please,
Okay. I have a 10-year-old grandson,
yes,
and he's a Cub Scout, Boy Scout, Cub Scout.
yes,
And I used to take him to some of his meetings.
yeah,
So at one of the meetings, all the Cub Scouts were sitting around, and the Cub Scout master was up there, and he said, "Okay, today and he's about 6 or 7 years old at the time. Now he's going to be 11 years old, and he's beautiful. He looks just like me, of course, way more handsome. But so the head master said, today we're going to name famous people like a president or an actor or somebody, Neil, Armstrong, who landed on the moon. So one kid raises his hand and says, John F. Kennedy or Abraham Lincoln or, stuff like that. So when it came to they were naming famous people. That was the kids, the Cub Scouts job. So it came to my grandson to name a famous person. And he said, Bill Alfonso, my grandpa. I almost fainted when he said that. I'm not famous, but if you know wrestling, then you know who I am. I have that kind of fame, but not like Abraham Lincoln, of course, or none of those. You got to love wrestling to know who the hell I am. But that's my favorite moment in the 40 years that I've been all over the world, have met tons of movie stars and wrestlers and been in Madison Square Gardens, LA Forum, Tokyo Dome, 65,000 people. My favorite memory, the best thing that ever happened to me in wrestling was my grandson giving me that nod.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's it's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
memory.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, because I don't know. I think
And also, I got a good memory about that big fat blonde girl in California. Man, she was beautiful. On the big side, but still beautiful.
For sure. No, I'm sure you have a lot of memories, but of course, when you have the that kind of recognition from your family, from your grandson,
Yes. Yeah.
something
Pretty
truly
cool.
special. And no, that's what. So after ECW finish,
Yes.
was kind of bought by WWE. What
Right.
what you did then next?
Well, when everybody went up to WWE, there was, like I said before, there's hundreds of us, but there's only so many jobs. So
Yeah,
there's
for
only
sure.
so many jobs for a manager or a referee. So, but I already had to work for 30 something, 25 years. So I just started doing the indie scene and doing public appearances and doing a lot of conventions in the United States, especially in the Northeast and New York area and all that. So I concentrated doing that and podcasts and all kind of things like that, all kind of entertainment values. I'm still relevant today in the business. It's
Yeah,
been
for
good for
sure.
me. So that's
I,
how I've been making. I'm retired. I save my money. If you look at
how was the one night stand of ECW?
oh, it was great. Yeah, we did the Manhattan Center. I was on the first Monday Night Raw.
Really?
The first live Monday Night Raw ever in the history of wrestling was Vince McMahon at the Manhattan Center, and I was a referee that night.
Wow. And
So
who was it? What match was? You
I
remember?
was Marty Jannetty and somebody. They put the belt on him. You can look it up. Early
Sure.
Monday Night Raw, Marty Jannetty winning the belt on TV. I think it was an Intercontinental belt or whatever.
Mm. But it was not a little emotional, the one night stand show, like
Yeah,
in the
it's emotional
context.
all the time, right? I'm an emotional person. I'm taking my business real serious and my friends. And
Because I
yeah,
think
it was emotional when I walked into Madison Square Gardens. It was emotional when I was in front of 65,000 people. I'm emotional talking to you in France right now. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty flattered to be honored on your show. Pretty cool, Daddy.
no, for sure. Because
Oh,
it,
that's a great pick.
yeah, that was a great night. Uh, of course, well, but I don't know. For me, it was really special when they did this because it can show to another generation what was kind of the spirit of ECW.
Exactly.
And yeah, you can feel the fans. It's like, wow, is that the
Brother,
energies?
just like I said a few minutes ago about the 19-year-old kid come up to me. I said, hey, you weren't even born. How the hell do you know ECW? They
Yes,
study, they love it. He's a real wrestling fan, and it's a different culture. It's like a cult, like you said.
yes. And the picture I have behind me,
Yes.
you would
Oh, yeah, that's on the set, me and TAZZ. That's on on Raw. There's the announcer. There's JJ, Double J, Howard
Yeah, Jim
Finkel,
Ross.
Bill Alfonso, and
Yes,
Taz. You know, I
yes,
was blowing my whistle at that event, and Vince McMahon is real technology. He's multi-million dollar
yes.
operation, so he had all the ring posts wired up with microphones, and I was standing right next to the ring post, blowing my whistle and blowing the ear off the sound truck and all that. Hey, tell him to cut with the whistle. I said, "That's my job, Daddy. Get used to
Yes,
it."
yes. Now, how it was work with Taz?
Taz was great. He was a machine. I mean, we didn't hang out a lot together. We performed business really well. He was a milk and cookies guy. Once the show was over, he went back to his room, ate his food, milk and cookies, and went to bed. I was out with the Sandman having a cocktail and, with the fat blonde girl. So, he
Yes.
wasn't that, but he was very cool to work with, very professional, and he was a badass too. Pretty tough guy.
And what about these two guys?
My favorite two guys of them all, Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View, RVD, Rob Van Dam, and the suicidal, genocidal, homicidal, one and only Sabu. He's truly badass. Those are my
So they
two
were
favorite guys in professional wrestling right there.
they were kind of different, kind
They were
of
very
work with
different.
them.
Van Dam, who does a better frog splash than Rob Van Dam?
Yeah, man.
Nobody.
I mean, as a person.
Oh, very cool. What you seen in the ring, he was like that in person. That yin yang was on the good side. He loved me. We get along perfect, Daddy. I talk to him all the time. In fact, he just texted me yesterday, and we text each other back and forth. He's in Las Vegas, and I'm in Florida, but we still stay in contact.
Because he always did crazy stuff, but he was always look so cool and chill.
He is
You know.
cool, and he was cool, just like
Yes.
me, Daddy.
Maybe it was the weed that was keeping him cool, because now he even have his own.
The weed? Of
Yeah.
course it was. That was one of his. That's a cool thing to say. Hell yeah, he loved the weed. We were featured in High Times magazine. That's one of the bigger, uh, weed magazines in the world. High Times magazine. We were featured 3-page spread in that, and of
because I
course he likes
because
to
he
buy a little.
everyone knows that he smoked, but
Yeah,
he when
420.
he was smoking during the match too, or
Well, he'd smoke. He'd go outside and smoke a joint. Ask him. Ask him when you see him. Yeah, I smoked with Van Dam right before I went to the ring a few times. I can't do it like him.
for
Um,
sure. No, but
but
because
I
I
do like
I
my
have
Paco Lolo too.
I have some friends that
Oh,
smoke
you
all
have
the
some for
time,
me?
and they don't they
Oh, send it to me.
don't
FedEx it to me. I'm
they don't
kidding. I
feel
got
they
my
don't
own. Daddy.
they don't feel when, because for me it's not that rare that he will be able to do that, because uh, um, around if you do that all the time, at the end the effect is not the same and your body cannot adjust to it.
Right.
So, and even he can be more, it's not like alcohol, you know
Right. Oh, it's
when
function. Marijuana is a wonder drug. It's a wonder
yes,
drug. And it's recreational and medical. Both.
sure.
And I use it
And
for both. Oh,
yes,
my back, so I smoke a little for the doctor.
yeah, no, for sure. It's the best,
I like
better
the
than
celebrity
better than
gold.
aspirin. So, and what about Sabu? Sabu was like the same as
He was
Rob Van
fearless.
Dam?
Yeah, he liked a little smoke too, but Sabu loved the wrestling business. He was one of the toughest guys. Not like he could beat up 10 guys. I mean, he could get busted open and have to get 120 stitches and keep going.
Yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean? This guy, no pain, just crazy,
yes,
and a great guy. A great guy. I was um, when I started, I worked with his uncle, the Sheik, not the Iron Sheik, not that guy, the original
yes,
Sheik, Eddie Farhat, Sabu's uncle.
yeah.
Um, that's why Sabu and I got along so good. So when we met in ECW, Paul Heyman put us together, and I told him the story about his uncle, and he loved it. And that just full circle bonded us together like that.
No, that's amazing. You have any kind of funny story? Because I know you're a busy man, you have to go, but you have like kind of a funny story about Sabu, something that you can share with us? Like, because when you saw it on the ring, I know that sometimes the character on the ring is not
I
the
don't have a funny
same.
story, but I'll tell you a story about Sabu. He was having with the ECW arena, and there was a barbed wire match. They took the ropes down and surrounded the ring with barbed wire. It was Terry Funk, the legend, against Sabu in like the first time hardcore barbed wire match. And you can look it up. It's on YouTube.
Sure.
And they were wrestling each other, and they were getting cut up and so on. Bam! And all of a sudden, Sabu gets his arm ripped open from his elbow all the way down. I mean, from his
Shit.
shoulder all the way
Yeah.
down to his elbow. It was about an inch wide. His muscle was hanging out. He went into shock for a minute. He said, Fonzie, go get me some tape. He taped it up in the ring while he was getting the reverse neck breaker on a steel chair. Look at the match. You'll see what I'm talking about. He's taping it up, taking a reverse neck breaker on a steel chair
Yes.
by Funk, and still going. We get back to the dressing room. We have to cut the tape off. And the doctor's back there, the paramedic, because you have to have a paramedic and a doctor on scene when you run a show in Pennsylvania. So the doctor said, oh, you need to go to the hospital and get plastic surgery and stitch that up. He said, no, stitch it up right here, no anesthesia. So the doctor stitch up, no anesthesia. So about halfway done, Sabu says, it does hurt. Fonzie, go to 7-Eleven and get me some super glue. So I go to 7-Eleven, I get super glue. This is not medical super glue. Remember, this is 96. The medical super
Yes.
glue is being tossed around. So I get
Yes.
the super glue out of, that you hold the,
Yes.
plastic together.
Yeah.
And he super glues the rest of it and seals it up. And we go on our
Wow.
day. So that's how badass he is. That's a good story about him.
Wow. That's amazing. So I know you have to go soon. So maybe we can, play
Hey, I want to
some.
talk about Ariel Levy, my latest for a few minutes. My latest guy I just signed him as manager, and the Brazilian giant from Brazil. He's badass. Ariel Levy is a pleasure to work with. He's not only a professional wrestler, and he's very good at it. I think he's the newest um, talent to come around in a long time. I love him. He's great in the ring. And he's an international celebrity. He's a star. Oh, he's from Chile, where you're from, my friend.
Yes.
Correct? He's a
Claro que
celebrity. He's
sí.
dancing with the stars. He's a pianist. He can sing. The women love him, and the men want to be like him. And guess what? Bill Alfonso is his manager. I just got back from Los Angeles yesterday, and I was out there scouting some stuff for me and him. Uh, but we'll see how that pans out. We have a big match coming up March 6th in Hialeah, Florida. Um, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to going to New York City. I'm going to flying into LaGuardia and doing a 2-hour show there tomorrow. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to coming back on your show and see how the reviews went. And maybe next time we have the audience send in some questions.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be
And
lovely, you know?
yes, I just want to tell you just a little story because you
Okay.
guys with ECW, they
Okay.
inspire to people there to create their own brand of wrestling called Extreme Lucha Libre, and
Oh,
was really inspired by ECW because and I was part of that too,
wow.
and
Great.
we
That's
we
very
kind of
inspiring for you to say. Thank you so much.
no, and we were kind of using barbed wire and stuff like that because yeah, we didn't have a big budget,
Yeah.
but
Kind of like ECW at the
we had
beginning.
passion. We had
Well, he
passion.
was
We
making
have the
$15 million a year and spending 17, you know?
yes,
He had no corporate sponsor, no Budweiser, no Nike, no Adidas sponsor, no,
yeah, for sure.
Coca-Cola. We
Yeah,
were
we have
buying
just one
we had
guy that
21
pay all.
pay-per-view.
Yes,
Yes.
and so Ariel Levy, he was part of that brand too,
Yes.
for some time. So
Yes.
he learned a lot of stuff there.
Oh,
So
he came right up to me and he knew exactly who
yeah,
I was. It was a very complimentary when it's
yeah,
very
because
flattering.
it's a full circle, you know.
Yeah,
You get inspire someone in Chile that became a wrestler and now he's with
absolutely.
you. For me, it's
He didn't
a
have to leave the movies. He's going to go back and do movies. He's a big movie star. He's spending his time learning this trade, and he's fantastic at it.
yes.
I
No,
love his.
for me, I was really surprised when he get into wrestling because he was already a famous actor.
Yep.
So you don't want to
Dancing
risk
with the Stars,
you don't
musician,
yeah,
singer, dancer. He
yeah,
just like me, Daddy. I can do it all.
yes. No, but for me, it was kind of really bold because when you're an actor, you try to protect your face or try to don't get hurt, and he
I
don't
was
give a
just
fuck.
with him. I was just, yeah, yeah. His insurance went up. His agent said, "What? You want to become a wrestler?" Oh my God, his agent was going
Yes.
crazy. I was
No, but
just
it's
with
great,
him. I'm in Nashville last week, and I'll be with him next week in Fort Lauderdale.
and
Can't wait
he
to
can
see him and
make
tell
his
him about
own
what we did.
stunts now.
Yeah,
So
he's really
it's a
cool.
plus.
He's a really cool kid. He's very smart. He's witty. He's got a good IQ. He's good with the people. He's not like a big head, Cabeza
Yes.
Malone head. He's pretty cool, brother. Very cool. He loves
No,
me.
that's really great. Well, we all
Yep.
love you,
Thank you.
Fonzie.
Thank you so much. It's very kind of you.
I really thank you for your time, and well, maybe I hope to have you another time.
Oh, I had a
And
ball, man. Hey, I'll send you a talent fee in the mail, so get ready to send me a big fat check. You know what I mean?
no problem.
I'm kidding,
I pay you
Daddy.
in I pay you in euros.
I love euros. I love them. It's my favorite food. When I go to France, I can buy a dinner. So listen, anytime you want me back on, just get a hold of me, social media, whatever you can do, and I would love to come back on. But next time, get some questions and answers.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I know there's
But
not a lot of fat girls in France, but if there is, they'll be chasing me when I come. But
yeah,
anyway, I've had such a good time with you guys. You guys are very cool.
okay, man. I really thank you, and well, I hope to see you another time.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you. This is Bill Alfonso signing off from the United States of America, saying thanks to all my international friends, Daddy.
Yeah,
Be safe and be
keep it
healthy.
right in the middle.
Right down the middle, Daddy. Hey, I like that.
Perfect. Bye.
Bye.